Good morning, traders. Today is Thursday, June 17th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. Pirate Traders live stream starting right now. Okay, so what have we had going on in the market? The last few weeks, we've been pushing higher with very little excess. We seem to just kind of balance, push a tiny bit higher, balance. And then yesterday we had a failure of the most recent balance area, which led to some selling. Okay. I giggle as I say some selling. It led to a massive waterfall of selling, which found support in a liquidation style initially, pushed back higher, did some grinding, came back down, retested that low, which was, obviously, like we say, it was innovators, it was strong hands that bought it during the liquidation down. And so when we came down and retested that, they held strong, right? So pull on down here. So the market then, when it came back down, retested these lows, found support, worked its way all the way back up, pulling the POC just below that old value area. As a matter of fact, that old balancing area, as a matter of fact, it's just inside that balance area. And then pulled back just a little bit in the M period, okay? So the overnight opened up here at these prices, and then the entire night pushed lower, and then once again found balance just above that area where we found support yesterday. So to me, this is neutral to bullish, the fact that the overnight inventory spent most of its time above the low that we created, okay? But the trend is still lower, right? Value from the day before yesterday to yesterday is lower. The overnight from the night before last to last, excuse me, the overnight from the night before last to last is lower. Okay, so the trend is lower. We don't want to ignore that. We trade value, not price. Value is lower. So that could be bearish. Okay, the market is open. Okay, internals opening slightly bearish. Okay, so my general thinking this morning is I don't have a lot of certainty about what I think the market is going to do. Based on the way the market sold off yesterday, and then it just jumped up and down in this range, the way the overnight just balanced lower, I don't have a lot of insights here as to what the market's going to do early in the morning, so I'm kind of just feeling it out. We are opening inside of yesterday's range, which increases the odds of chop. Okay, it looks like we're getting a counter auction to the overnight inventory, right? Overnight inventory was net short because their opening price was up here and their closing price was down here. We know more of them were short than long. And so we got a little counter auction based on that. If the market is able to push its way back into the balancing area that we've been in for this week, which this would be that low. If it's able to get its way back up above this balance area low and then find support, so basically it starts trading around this area where we left the POC for yesterday, that would be very bullish to me for a continuation to the opposite end of balance, which also has a poor high. Okay, so there's lots of weak and poor references up here. The all-time high is considered weak because it was created in the overnight. The high from 615 is poor. So and then you've got these weak references we left behind yesterday as well before we had that sell-off. So all of that is like a magnet to pull price to it. So if the market is able to get back up into this balancing area and then it finds some support around here, that to me would be very bullish that that magnet is going to pull price up here to that poor high. Okay. As far as to the downside, pretty much it's yesterday's low, right? If the market gets down, finds support around yesterday's low, that would be bullish. But if not, I would look for further downside continuation. potential support in the market on its little journey up and down here. This node of volume from yesterday, which has this node of volume from overnight just below it, this area here, likely to act as strong support on a pullback. And the area that we're in right now, the resistance. Okay? So yeah, let's just kind of sit back and watch the market and figure out what it's doing. Good morning, Marco. Good morning, Mediterra. Good to see you guys. Hitting up that chat early in the AM. Philip, good to see you. Naif, good morning to you. Morning coffee and hitting that like button. Naif, music to my ears. RK Leon is here. Good to see you. Welcome. Nav Trader back with us. Liked and coffeed. Good to see. Stanley's here. Good morning to you. Schick 230's back with us. Good morning. Nor Auto Trader is with us. Good morning to you as well. Phoenix is here. What up, my dude? Mediterra, I didn't hear any sound until 4 minutes passed. I don't know why that happened. I hope you're hearing me now. Can you hear me now? Good. Arthur is with us and Apico. Good to see you guys. Okay, so potential resistance in these 15-minute, the 20 moving average on these 15-minute candles. Potential resistance for both markets. Okay, internals pushing their way above the zero line. Slightly bullish. Yeah, that's strange, Mediterra. Sorry about that. Good morning, Joshua. Good to see you. Before you FOMO into a long here, just keep in mind that we often get chop when we open inside the previous day's range. So this market might keep pushing, but at some point it could easily just pull right back down. Okay, so now we're right at that balance area low. Currently, it's acting as resistance here. But once again, if we're able to push through it and then we come back down and find support in this area, that would be very bullish to me because we're re-entering a balance area. We often, the odds favor when you re-enter that you trade to the opposite end. So that in correlation with the poor high that we left behind on 615. Once again, getting above this level and then coming back down, not just getting above it. Don't just go long because the market crosses this line. It could easily pull back down. But if it can get above it and then come back down and find support, that could be a good entry for a long trade for continuation higher. Okay. Charles is the murder bot? I don't get the joke. Right over my head, John. Right over my head this morning. Let me drink some coffee. Are you guys getting that like sound? Sorry about that. Wonder what's going on with my stream today. Okay, so there's that chop we talked about. Market pushed up, found a little bit of resistance. Now we're getting that chop. So the market will pull back down looking for support. Potential support is in this node that we're currently trading in right here from yesterday. If not, if we trade back down below the lows, like I said, there's this area in the overnight. Let me just get that drawing tool up and running here. Okay, we also bounced off that 15. Okay, so next support could be in this node of volume here or this one here from the overnight. So this general area could act as support. That's about 41.97 to 42.02. If that should fail, the low of yesterday. If the low of yesterday fails, I would go short for further downside continuation. Remembering that value is lower. Okay, so the trend is lower. And we found resistance at the balance area low. That would mean if we can't find support here, we probably have a much larger pullback happening. And we want to go with that trend, go short. Let's cue it on up. Cue it on up. Cue it on up. Cue it on up. Okay, well, as has been par for the course, the overnight a little bit stronger in the NQ than in the ES. Our overnight explored lower prices, but the overnight of the NQ stayed inside of its range, so that is bullish. Well, less bearish, one could say. You've had a straight drive higher since the open. Again, a little more bullish in the fact that you found resistance up above the POC, whereas the ES couldn't get to it. So yeah, it's moving to me the same as the ES, but just a little bit stronger. Yeah, great question, Captain. Do I ever take profits too soon? Absolutely. It is something that I still struggle with to this day. Both taking profits too soon and moving up my stop too soon. I'd say of all my current issues that I'm working on, that's the one I'm struggling with the most. Is like let's just say hypothetically, I went long right now, right, and then the market pushed a little bit higher up to here. I would like instantly move my stop a tick above break even, and then the market just like comes down real quick, fills my stop, and then pushes higher. And it's like I don't lose any money because I got my stop above break even, so my fees are covered. Um, but I missed the trade, and that's another big thing that annoys me. And I'm currently working on trying to come up with a strategy to stop that from happening. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I am working on it. One thing I could say though, with the idea of taking profits too early. So let's say I went long right here, assuming the market was going to get back up to like this balance area low, right? And then it pushes its way up and it starts to hit some resistance, and I get nervous, like, ooh, it's not quite going to make it, and so I just boom take profits right then and there. One thing that I have found is helpful is reminding myself, and this is something I will actually say to myself as I push the button to take profit. I will actually out loud say to myself, all right, I'm exiting the trade, but I can always get back in. Boom. And then I click that market button to exit. So then if the market pulls back to like here and it starts to find support, I'll be like, you know what? I can get back in that trade. I thought we were going all the way up to here. We didn't quite make it. I took my profits. You know what? I'm going to step back into this trade. Now, I may not have gotten into the trade here the first time around because the risk reward wouldn't have been good, but I can get into it now because I booked the profits from the first one. So that's something I always tell people. There's nothing wrong with exiting a trade and then re-entering just a few minutes later. So that might be something you find helpful. Good morning, Nick. Good to see you, brother. Normal, good morning to you. Welcome. Good morning, Your Highness. Welcome. Okay, tale of two markets again this morning, as has been the case. The ES feeling weak, like it needs a larger pullback, and the NQ feeling strong, like it's ready to break out. It's been doing that a lot lately. Unfortunately, I could not read that name. Uh, Looks like it could be perhaps Russian. But welcome. Thanks for joining. Happy to have you in the community. Okay, ES finding support in this 4210-ish level to be noted moving forward. So I'm watching the ticks to see if it can hold these lows. Remember, we often see, the moves the market's going to make first in the ticks before it shows up in the other internals. So if we're going to find support here and start to push higher, we'd likely see it in the ticks first before we start to see these two reverse. Yeah, Naif, it's like anything else, right? Different tools work for different people. I never liked options because I found them to be too complex. I had to exert too much effort trying to wrap my mind around what the option is going to do. Um, and so for me, futures are just much simpler because I instead wrap my mind around what the market is going to do and then just pick up or down. Like that. I like the simplicity of that. But there are people who can use strategies with options in a brilliant way so that they can, you know, protect their capital much better than necessarily just entering long or short on a future where you're just straight up risk, you know? So it's, each person finds what tools work right for them. Do I have any references below yesterday's low? Sure, but the way I trade, I don't think about them until we get there. So I have nothing that there's no crazy poor lows or anything. I don't think that stand out to me. Okay, so there's a poor low all the way down at 40.55, but no reason in the world we have to go down there. I mean, I'll let these sit here for a second so you can mark them down if you'd like to. Each one could act as a potential support or resistance level. But for the time being, doing what I do, trading how I trade, I just got to focus on that low. And honestly, I'm not even focused on that just yet. I'm really more focused on this area where the prominent POC is from the overnight. My assumption is that we will actually find support there first, right? Find support in this node here or this node here, just below. So around that 4,200 number. Okay, the NQ is one tick away from one time. There it is. The NQ is one time framing higher, which is bullish. We're also just now pulling the value area, overlapping to higher, which is bullish. Well, neutral to bullish, sideways to bullish. And you're building up support here in this market. Most of the trade this morning taking place above the POC from yesterday. That is also slightly bullish. Okay, back to the ES. All right, the ES is pushing on up, pushing on up. Okay, I'd feel much better if these ticks on the nicey could get above the 0 line here. Okay, so the ES is now one time framing lower, looking for support, and I think we're going to find it around that 4200 area. Um, the hell is happening, Sean? Not much, man. Market's just looking for support. It's as to be expected. It is a little bit strange that the NQ is holding up so well against this. But otherwise, it's just the market looking for support. The thing about these giant ranges when you have a day like this is that to get to the little nodes of volume that will act as support or resistance, you have to travel quite a distance to get there. So you get a lot more volatility. Great if you're already in the trade, painful if you're not. Can you please check your market internals charts? They are showing the correct dates. My market internal charts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what dates you're looking at. This is all live happening right now. Ah, Jamie. Yeah, so that's the explanation for how the Q is strong. That makes sense. If just a small handful of stocks happen to be strong and they make up a huge majority of the indice, that can happen. But obviously, the broader market, as we can tell from the internals, is selling off. And just looking for buyers, right? Looking for a level where buyers want to participate. We'll find it probably starting at about 4202-ish here in this node of volume. Those are the hours of the day. So it's saying Thursday, 8 a.m. Good catch, though. Man, you got eagle eyes. Partha, I don't. You're a Brigade member, correct? If you're a member of the Brigade inside the Discord, I think under education, somebody posted, yeah, there's a video from Shadow Trader on it called How to Trade with Market Profile and Market Internals webinar. You could just Google that. It's on YouTube. But if you're in the member group, you could just come on over to education and you'll find the link there. Thank you to Phoenix, the Discord reigning champion, for sharing. Okay, so not great taper on the low here, right? All the contracts being almost exactly the same. 1153, 58, 80, 64. Increases the odds the market needs to push down here once more and have a little more two-sided trade. Uh, Marco, could it go back to the bounce area high? The ES? Yeah, absolutely. It's just looking for support down here. Once it finds it, it can begin the process of pushing higher once again. However, in terms of probabilities, it doesn't look like it's going to. We have to kind of wait for the ticks to settle themselves out here. I can't tell if they're trending up or down. But if they're trending down, then likely this node of volume will act as resistance on the way back up. But right now, that range is just getting tighter. So let's wait and see. On the NQ, yeah, I mean, the value area high is at the high of the day. So that's just bullish. And they can keep pushing. I mean, they didn't even, like, here's another thing that just shows how much stronger the NQ is than the ES. Yesterday, our value area was clearly completely lower than the previous day, whereas on the NQ, it was overlapping to lower. The Qs are finding support in the node of volume from 2 days ago. Just look at this. Where's the volume? Every day, same area. So this 14,022 level should act as support if the market pulls back down to here for the next push. Back to the ES. Yeah, Arthur, that's what we talked about yesterday during the stream. You got to have stop losses. Always, you got to have a stop loss. But when there's something like that happening, a major economic event We had spent all morning talking about it, preparing for it. So you definitely should have had a physical stop in, just because there was always the chance that they could sell the news, and that's what they did. So it's not a mistake you should get upset about. It happens. It's totally normal. And now you know for next time. Always, always, always set a stop loss. Do the ticks need to be above the zero line? Normal asks. They don't need to be, but it is better if they are. So, I mean, as a very basic, very, very simple way of breaking it down, above the zero line is bullish, below is bearish, right? It doesn't necessarily always work out exactly that way, but if the ticks have trouble getting above zero, that is definitely very bearish, which is the case right here in the NYSE right now. So yeah, you definitely want to get these above the zero line if you're expecting the ES to push back up. Right now, it seems that this node is acting as resistance for another push lower. It slipped and went -3 instead of -1. Um, that's a bummer. Are you saying that you had your stop one tick away and it stopped out 3 ticks away? That could happen. It's just normal slippage. Slippage, is that the right word, or did I just use the wrong word? Pavel, good morning to you. So just when I started to get excited that we were pushing through this node of volume here, I look over at the ticks and they're still below that zero line. So I'm waiting to see if this 20 moving average acts as resistance here and gives us another push lower. If the market can get through this 20 moving average and then come back down and find support on it, that would be bullish to me. And will likely, what it'll look like over here on the profile is we'll probably push up above value, then pull back down and find support in this node, which has been resistance here. That will be good for the long trade to try to get back into that balance area low. Or sorry, to get back into that balance area. Okay, printing the C period. Okay, so there's the cessation on one time framing in the ES, meaning the downtrend is over. And the market is likely to go rotational. Keep in mind, though, you can break out of rotation at any time. And to me, that breakout would be getting above that A period high. So as long as the market trades below this A period high, I'll be looking for resistance in here. But if we get above that, find support, that's the long trade. Still finding resistance on that 20 moving average. Tick still remaining bearish. Marco, yeah, I wouldn't spend too much time. I wouldn't exert too much energy worrying about the differences between the NQ and the ES. They're each their own market, and they're just going to do what they're going to do. They do overlap a lot, and they do often move together, but they've been moving separate from one another for the last week or so. So I'd pick one and focus on that. Much easier than trying to understand what they're both doing simultaneously. You're giving your brain a lot of extra work that it doesn't need. Okay, ticks above zero line, pushing through that 15 moving average. That is slightly bullish. Oh, man. Yeah, I lost track of the time. I lost track of the time. Was so busy trading. All right, we'll do another 5 minutes here. Then we'll jump on over to the private stream. As always, if you guys aren't a member of the Brigade yet, it only costs $10 a month, and you get to stay with the stream for the rest of the day. Something worth thinking about. Jason, all jokes aside, if you want to email me some links to some sea shanties, I will sing them. I just don't know of any. Except for the one from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Yo ho ho ho, a pirate's life for me. Da, 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 da. All right. Well, we're in business here. Got above that 15 moving average. Got the ticks back above that 0 line. Reversing the trend, at least in the advancers versus decliners. Not quite yet in the breath. If we can get into this balancing area, which we're doing right now, as I'm saying it, this is extremely bullish. So look for the market to push above and then come back and find support in this general area. If it can, then you could potentially trade to the opposite end of balance, which is the poor high at 42.48. Okay? Looking good in the neighborhood. That's not a sea shanty. All right. Well, with that, I must wish you adieu. Au revoir. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you here tomorrow morning, the day of the quadruple witching, right here on the live stream. Thank you guys so much. If you're a member of the Brigade, give me 5 minutes, and then I will see you in that live stream. Bye-bye.